What's up, YouTube? So we're doing things a little bit different today. One, we're not in the ghetto garage, we're in the old man's garage. And it's pretty much the same setup, except he's got, better jacks, better tools, less gunshots, a lot more resources here, but better lighting. Other than those small things, basically the exact same. And then the other thing is, we're starting this video halfway through the project because we've never done this before, so we did the passenger side, which was the bad side on the front end. Kind of figured out our groove there, and then we're gonna fly through this side so we could film it and work at the same time. And
now you just jinxed it.
We're not gonna stumble over ourselves, hopefully. But so far, this is the pile of stuff we need. Take that apart, get new parts. And this is the done side. We've got the control arms replaced, tie rods replaced, the link replaced. Lesson of the day, check your part numbers because your control arms are not guaranteed to come with a ball joint. So we are doing it ghetto garage style and using the old ball joint. Now another bright side to working on things here is I have the camera skills. And my dad can do the work taking it apart sometimes.
Yeah, that's fucking great. Hey, asshole. Alright, so we're going to take this control arm off first, which we got the two ratchets and sockets on each side over there, ready to go. But first I'm going to release this, the joint is here on the inside. That's a 22 millimeter. Not too bad. That's enough of that BS right there.
Power tools are more fun anyways. Hi. Hi.
The tool of violence. Boys and girls, don't try this at home.
On that same note, don't bring it to a shop, just do it at home.
But get one of these. They're like 30 bucks on Amazon. And even though it kind of fell apart on me, it just keeps forging ahead. I can't say that it's broke enough to be massively annoying. Just mildly annoying. So the next round of violence is to take out this stabilizer arm as well. So there's a 22 millimeter on that one. I think this one is 21. Or 22, both 22 millimeter. So this one can be a little bit of a bear. But when the car spent the first half of its life in Florida, yeehaw!
And in case you don't know, it's because they don't salt the roads in Florida. They don't have to.
This is just unacceptable. We're just not going to do all that work. They call that paint yourself into a corner.
So something you'll want to keep in mind when you're working on these front end components, especially the tie rod, is turn your wheels so you're helping yourself, not making it harder. If you come this way, now we have all this room to work. Before, we were stuck in this area and it was real tight, but now, wide open space. And obviously on the other side, you turn the wheel the other way.
Alright. Look at how nice that was. Back by popular demand. Violence round number 2. Round of violence number 2. Let's get this going. Alright, sometimes you just This gets old. So you gotta do it the easy way. Patrick's doing the tie rod. And we've learned from experience, folks, don't do tie rod ends. Just do the entire tie rod. Because, see that boot up there? That boot, unless it's damaged, is filled with grease and oil and all the things that make things not rust. So that's actually fairly easy to break loose. Trying to take a tie rod end off is not good. It's just terrible. So Patrick got that joint loose right there, and now took the clip off. You gotta loosen the boot, slide it back. There's children playing in the background, but we gotta loosen the boot, slide it back, and then that.
Lesson number 2 we've learned. Don't mess around with anything besides pipe wrenches.
Yeah.
Just get a pipe wrench, twist.
Pop that off. All right, this is a better view of it. That's the joint you're trying to get to and break loose. You know, if you booger that all up, it doesn't matter because you're putting a new one on there. Boom. It's loose. So the third act of violence is that joint right there. You disconnect that right there. See how smooth that goes? Folks, I'm telling you, don't do tie rod ends. Just do the entire tie rod. Now, it wouldn't be fair of me to hog all the fun, so Patrick is going to do the third act of violence here. Folks, one thing that'll make it easier for you, if you want to move your arm once, take these, move these cables out of the way, and now you can get at that much easier. We keep losing the socket because when that joint breaks loose, the socket goes flying.
Get out from under it.
Ooh, that's gonna come loose. Boom, it's just angry, but awesome. Now it's just hanging there by the strut. Bunch of critical people out there probably gonna say, you can't do that!
Don't forget, wear safety glasses.
Patrick just took his off.
Now do yourself a favor, lay out your parts, and make sure everything pretty much matches. Now the one thing, we'll have to take this boot, put it on this tie rod, but before we cut this to take the boot off, we need to match these up, because as long as you match them as close as possible, an alignment is not an emergent thing. Your wheels will be straight. Match these up, and that's got a cover. Just look it all over, make sure you got the right parts before you're in too deep. Another important part of lining the tie rods up is having a second opinion, because sometimes you look at it wrong, second person might look at it right.
So Patrick did the right thing here by putting this flat edge in there. I'm liking that a lot. Now, sometimes these thread depths might be different, but where it's gonna face up or meet up with its surface is on this. So most importantly, you want the two of these to be as close as possible. And I think we're good. One's tipped up, one's tipped down a little bit, so we're right there. We're within a thread. So it still needs an alignment, but this will allow you to drive it and not have to run right over to the robbery shop and get it done.
Safety glasses are important for this.
Yeah, you need a guard, folks. Don't ever go without a guard. But this is where you could twist on a tie rod end all day. Ghetto garage style. My son's too cheap to buy a new boot, so we actually need that boot. It's in good shape, so we got to get that off. But we can sit there and twist on that like we did the other one, or we can just grind it off. So we're going to grind it off.
The appropriate work shoe here is a slipper.
Got more done in my slippers in my life. There we go. So
Now since you need the one tie rod together to measure up this tie rod width, but you also need to take this apart to get the boot off. You paint this little green line, that way you can cut that, take this off, then pull this apart, put this on, line up your paint line, and you're good to go.
alright, got the boot on.
There we go. First try.
It should turn really smooth.
The only challenge will be it's not perfectly straight because it's a moving piece, but once you have it on there, you can adjust this.
And it helps someone moving all that crap out of the way.
So I like to get it there, and then we go back to the pipe wrench to get this hand tight. Ghetto garage fashion, we are not using clamps, we're using zip ties. So they're just as good in this application.
Except for all you BMW people out there that are going to be like, no, it's not. Oh my God, what are you doing?
Blasphemy. You're also not supposed to be able to work on your Beamer at home, so F it.
BMW tells you you can't.
We're telling you and showing you you can.
Alright, starting to put everything back together. One thing, folks.
There's a life hack involved here. These ratchets, these sockets, so you can get your Allen wrench in there rather than trying to mess with an open end. It just makes life a whole lot easier. It's nice having three hands when the third one helps.
Oh my goodness.
First try.
See, when you're being laughed at, hand the tool to the person laughing at you and then see what happens.
Karma's a bitch.
It's the hardest thing to do all day.
Oh,
Take that socket off once. I need confirmation that that in fact fits. No, it don't.
take two.
Take two. We had this one actually is going to be used for, I think, the lower one. But that one is perfect for that.
So when we're doing this front control arm, as you can see, the ball joint's a little far away, so we're just going to turn the wheel back. That'll give you enough room to get it where you got it. Get everything loosely fit and then tighten it down. It's a lot easier to line up that way.
Alright, so this is a sway bar link. It's just kind of a crappy spot to get at it from. And for those of you with a real keen eye, yep, that boot is torn.
More content. It's all fun and games until your wife wants a Beamer. Not that we can even talk shit because we've done this on every single other vehicle.
Yeah, this is not exclusive to BMW. It's been Toyota, GM. However, I will say that the GM and Toyota were 200,000 miles-ish versus 100,000 miles.
Side note to that, this has been a pretty easy front end to work on
Yeah?
comparatively. You actually have a surprisingly amount of space for how much you got to take apart.
And for those of you who are like, oh, well, I don't have all those tools, I promise you, for what BMW, GM, or Toyota, or anyone else would charge you to do this job, you could afford all the tools that you need. All right, he's putting this, got to get the BFH.
Like a glove.
BFH. I'm not kidding you, folks. You could buy this entire setup of tools for less than it would cost you to do this job, and then you could do just a bunch of other jobs. I know some of you people are probably saying, I don't want to do that job. Okay, well, I'll pay for it then.
But either way, hit subscribe.
Hey, the one thing to note, we put that sway bar link in. If you would have put this last part in before that sway bar link, you wouldn't have a really great place to do a swing on your ratchet. So that's why we did that last. So do your sway bar link. Don't leave that to last, even though it's like the easiest one. You probably want to leave it till last. And once these get tightened, they won't spin the rod anymore, so you just got to get it to a certain point, and then the torque wrench can torque down with no issue. Just for witness, doing all the torques.
Which, instead of taking the time to say each one and you can try to keep track, we will post the picture right here. So screenshot it, write them down, do what you gotta do. We try our best to make it easy on you guys. Alright, so that's how you do the front end. We're gonna get all of our tools cleaned up, wheels back on, take it for a test drive.
Yep.
See how she runs. We'll see if she falls apart or if it goes down the road real nice.